On the debate tonight, Cyclone Gaja hit coastal Tamil Nadu, leaving behind a trail of destruction.
அதில் அரிசி எல்லாம் கிடந்தது தான். சரி. எல்லாம் கிடந்த சாமானும் கிடக்குதுல. எதுவுமே மிஞ்சல.
இப்போ ரொம்ப மோசமான நிலைமையில தான் இருக்குது. சமைக்கிறது வழி கிடையாது வீட்ல. அடுப்பு பத்த வைக்க முடியாது. மேலே கூரை கிடையாது.
Mirror now travels through the cyclone affected areas only to find just how the government has mismanaged the disaster.
Well, this is a village in Kameshwaram which has been completely battered. You could see on that side what is the situation over here. This was a school before Cyclone Gaja hit this area. This is Talanyari and this is what you could see as the destruction caused by Cyclone Gaja. Well, there is a location called Watakudi and this is what we saw on the way. This is actually a kind of makeshift camp where people are trying to cook food. What they are trying to do is that since they don't even have a proper shed, they are using their hands to hold the tarpaulin.
Citizens at this time of grief feel betrayed by the Tamil Nadu government.
கஜா புயலால் சேதமடைந்த பகுதிகளை உடனடியாக மத்திய குழு பார்வையிட்டு சேத விவரத்தை கணக்கிட்டு நிவாரணத்தை அளிக்க வேண்டும் என்று பாரத பிரதமரை வலியுறுத்தி கேட்டுக்கொண்டுள்ளது.
Mirror now asks, why has the Tamil Nadu government not been able to provide relief to several of the cyclone affected areas even after so many days? Has the state government failed its citizens? Let's debate.
Well, unfortunately, the rest of the country has not really paid attention, but parts of Tamil Nadu are in very, very deep distress. So this is what it's like. Most of these areas are extremely rural, which means that the homes that people were using had thatched roofs. Those roofs have been completely destroyed. People don't have a place to sleep at this point. They've lost all their belongings. They're all cooped up in either a school building or the closest government building. There's no electricity. There hasn't been electricity for about a week. There's no drinking water, and relief material has not reached them. They're in darkness, and nobody seems to care. They're extremely angry. My colleague Pramod Madhav has been traveling through Tamil Nadu this entire day, and he's brought us some very worrying visuals of people who are living without water supply, without electricity, and without a roof over their heads. And it continues to rain because the monsoon has now hit Tamil Nadu. Pramod is with me live at this point on the show. Pramod, well, I hope you've been okay and you've got enough to eat and your team is all right at this point. But tell us, what are the worst stories you encountered today?
Well, I have to first tell you that the people who are at shelters, they actually offered us food. That's what their heart that was actually. But we were able to meet them, we were able to talk to them, and they told us very clearly that the rehabilitation is not working well for them. The concentration of rehabilitation is only at specific locations where it is easy for the government to go ahead and, as per their words, to create some publicity, not about the areas which are interior ones which have been completely hit by the cyclone. The area where Nagapattinam, Vedanam, those locations, the prominent kind of work was either fishermen or the farmers who are depending on coconut trees and like long-term trees like mango, for which you need to spend close to 10 to 15 years on one plant for that to like yield any kind of profit. Right now they have lost the whole farming of this coconut trees and things like that, and unfortunately they claim they have they have after no power anything like that. Even now they are aware that how the Tamil Nadu government has offered them 1,100 rupees for one coconut tree. The question is that 2 months ago when this scheme of 8-way lane came forward, the Tamil Nadu government was ready to provide 40,000 rupees for one coconut tree, and they're questioning how come this government has come forward and has made this calculation. The second thing is that the Chief Minister took a helicopter ride, and in Delhi he has mentioned that if you go by road, the roads are inaccessible, so it went forward by on road and he has taken pictures. It's kind of like the way the Chief Minister is trying to I'm very sorry to bring it, but like cover up his mistake is that he's trying to show some pictures where he said like he went on the chopper and these pictures were taken. If you see that pictures closely, they were taken from the ground, and if there's a chopper, the wind itself would have blown everything. This was taken on a camera, maybe a mobile phone or something, and the Chief Minister is trying to provide these kind of answers. The people in that area are aware of it and they are completely angry because right now they have survived. The ones who have survived are asking a question, how they are going to live longer right now, because they don't have a roof, they cannot sleep on the farm because of like wild animals, a lot of things. It's still pouring, they are still like having shelters, and certain shelters will be closed within the next 2 days because they are makeshift camps on schools. Schools will be reopened soon if that's open, so they don't have any other place to stay. All these points are like still prevailing, and we have no answer from the government. And in fact, the authorities have no clue because we did not have local body elections, and the people who are supposed to mediate between the government and the authorities, the councillors, the municipality heads, they are absent.
Pramod, tell us this. Have the relief materials, and every political party is bragging about sending trucks of relief material to the people. Now, from what you're telling us, it sounds like the relief material has not reached at all. Secondly, the visuals that you've sent us today, we can see villagers fixing what looks like electricity poles. Are the people doing their own relief measures at this point? Are they having to take the trees off the roads and fix the poles themselves?
Well, on one end, when we went when we're trying to go to a place called Vandal, it's still inaccessible because between the road and the village, it's like almost up to your chest. You have water, and it's still inaccessible. But in that area, the village itself cleared the path, and they've made it sure like it will be at least accessible for others to come forward. But these are all interior parts. Electricity Board, EB, is doing a fine job so far because they have brought in workers from the Andhra Pradesh, and they are the ones who are into the place, and they're trying to place the poles and try to make sure that electricity is restored as soon as possible. For this also, when we spoke to the workers in Tamil Nadu asking why people have been brought from Andhra Pradesh, they claim that the government did not recruit new people because of that. For more than 2 years, 20,000 places are empty in Electricity Board. Because of that, for this reason, they have to bring people from Andhra Pradesh and other things. However, in various other areas, if you talk about relief materials, the basic things they only feel is like water, clean water. And unfortunately, whatever they had, these are farmers, so they know how to survive. So whatever they could get your hand into, they have done it for the 5 days.
Yes.
Now they are getting rice, they are getting certain amount of vegetables based on, for example, I saw in one location where there was like 10 kilograms of rice, of which they had to use it for 2 days for 270 people. They had 2 cabbages, a bunch of onions, and this was their food for twice a day. The morning food will be only 1 tea and 2 biscuits, and they were happy because they claim at least they have this. This contention seems to be the problem because they are not demanding anything more, and that's the reason it seems like the government is ready to provide the lesser for them, which one they are happy with.
Pramod, you sent us visuals as well of a water tanker that came in to give people water, and these visuals of people cooking under a tarpaulin sheet. Where are these supplies coming from? So, is this what people are managing among themselves, or is it coming from the government? Explain the water tanker to us.
The water tanker thing is done by the village officers. They do not want to come talk directly in the camera. They make it very clear that they are not happy with whatever is happening because there is no communication between the government and what's happening on the field. For first reason, there is no cell phone towers to talk or things like that. But they are making sure that whatever certain good Samaritans from the authorities itself are making sure that like people get in adequate water and things like that. So like that is also not on a daily basis. Once in 2 days, once in 3 days, that's a condition. The tarpaulin, that visual was like completely disturbing because as we were traveling, we saw that like on one zone, people were cooking food and immediately it started raining and they just took in a tarpaulin and 4 people were holding it above their hand to make sure that the food is not spoiled because that's the only thing they had to feed 300 people. They immediately from there requested the government to give them a good a mattress and tarpaulins to make sure that they can place some wooden sticks and fix it up. That tarpaulin was used for some other purpose because it was raining and they did not have stoves. They were using like wood and chopped wood and things like that, and they could not go anywhere else. Every other wood was completely wet, and that's the reason they decided to like hold it above their head and they use their own body as a shield to make sure that the food is like cooked so that like nobody would starve.
And Pramod, how many people are in distress right now? The last number we received was about 251,000 people who are in shelters. Are these the people who need to be fed and clothed and looked after and need medical supplies for the next week or so?
Well, you can actually add in another zero to it, because like what's happening is that the people in that area, they have shelters. It's like just simple school and they cannot sleep there. There is not enough time. So what they do is that they wanted to sleep there and then come back again to their home. These numbers are missed. These numbers are not added into people who are living in the shelters. That's a big mistake that's happening right now, because the people who are living at their home, they also have nothing. But since they go to the home and come back, they are not included into the shelters. So a minimum of 20 lakh people should stay in should be are having nothing at all. This is, I'm talking about the Nagapattinam district alone. And we have gone only to Virindamavadu, we have gone to like places like Thalai Nyayire, we have gone to places like Vattakadu. These are like few locations we have gone through, and this area itself is completely devastated. This is where the Minister O.S. Manin was attacked earlier, because they believe that he said that there is no devastation without him coming and looking into the various locations. And for some reason, indirectly, for some reason, there is no whatever measures they are supposed to get, they claim it's being delayed now.
Okay. All right. Pramod, thank you very much for bringing us that update. And if you can, and if it's possible, to stay with us through the course of this conversation and give us more information, I would prefer that. But I do understand that you've been traveling all day. On the show with us, S. Muralidharan from the AIADMK. Mansa Rao is a reporter with News Minute who's also been covering the story. Vasanthi Stanley is an MP with the DMK. And Vidyashri with Kovai Post, who's been covering the story as well. And Pramod will try and stay with us. Mr. Muralidharan, appalling reports coming out of Tamil Nadu right now. We've spoken, in fact, to people who are to district workers and leaders of district offices who, on the condition of anonymity, have told us that they are waiting for the state government to send them relief material, and no relief material has come. They don't know what to do. They can't give the people anything because Chennai has not sent them anything. What is going on?
It doesn't sound that bizarre, Faye. What you need to understand is there are people on the field and they are doing their job, and this is not a normal disaster. This is a huge disaster. Now, what you need to understand, the disaster is multifold. One is people have lost their houses. One. Second, they lost their small and long-term crops. They have also lost their coconut trees. Now, when I say small and long-term crops, which are like 3 months to 6 month kind of crop, which can be always compensated. But a roof above the head, so that's a rewarding factor. But right now, what they need is a shelter, food, and drinking water. This is what is getting arranged. The problem is there are 1 lakh electrical poles have been blown away. So obviously, unless you resurrect that, there can't be any electricity coming into these villages where you can pump water out from those wells. So that's a real concern. And wherever you put generators, there are some locations where you can't reach at all. So that's getting crippled. But rest of the places, things are happening. It doesn't look that bad. Yes, 1 or 2 villages are in the remote are left out, or it's not unattended, but there are certain reasons for that. Now, coming back, the bigger loss is the coconut trees. In few districts, the completely coconut trees were blown off. Now, coconut tree takes 15 years to yield. Now, that's a bigger loss for
one second, Mr. Muralidharan, do not give me the life cycle of a coconut tree. I understand the life cycle of a coconut tree. But I want to rebut you on that one point. You said a few villages have not got help. Pramod Madhav is still with us. Pramod, how many villages have not got help? How many villages and how many districts did you visit today that haven't received aid from the government yet?
Well, I could only be able to go to Nagapattinam and Vedaranyam, because here itself there is like so much devastation. The problem is that there are so many villages from the highway, the state highway. You need to go to the left side. These are all coastal zones, and people have a consideration thinking that these are all fishermen villages. It is not. There is a fisherman belt on the coast zone, but between the state highway and the coast zone, you have the farmlands. Like he said, yes, it is like a coconut is a long-term tree. And the question being asked, once again, I want to reiterate, is that if the Chief Minister is ready to provide 40,000 rupees for one coconut tree in Salem 8-way lane, why is it not being provided for a coconut tree over here?
Pramod, my question to you is this. The coastal villages that you visited, have they received aid from the government? Now, Mr. Muralidharan is of the opinion there are just 1 or 2 villages, not all of them. Most of the places, things are okay. Is that true, Pramod?
Yes. Yes. Let me elaborate on that, Faye.
No, let him answer.
The belt, which is like Pera,
there was a issue.
Go ahead, Pramod, go ahead.
The thing is that what happened... what happens is that like in Nagapattinam and Vedaranyam, there is a kind of like the reform materials itself did not go, because after what happened to OS Manian, the people started blocking the vehicles because they saw the people starve, and immediately they stopped blocking all the vehicles. They claim that all these vehicles carrying all this food and water were only directed to Vedaranyam and then to the Delta regions and not to these locations. That's the reason they stopped the vehicle. They started like taking it out of it. It became a little problematic. Even yesterday we saw in Salute how the people were protesting, claiming that there was no power and nobody had come to see them. Only after our telecasting that, immediately authorities came over there and now they have power. So this stretch was completely, for some reason, was forgotten. And the same reason they were angry with OS Manian for claiming that there was no devastation. We went to the left side. We saw that like there's no palm tree, coconut tree, nothing is there. Even you saw like this case of Panjali, there was no house. She just showed us rice cakes. Those rices were completely turned into cakes, and she says like there is no possible way how she's going to start. Even she did not have any contact with her family. This is the situation over there, and there were close to 10 kind of like various camps in certain small areas,
yes,
and like
yes.
buildings that was in a higher places. And this was like Virinda Bhavani alone.
Okay,
This is
Pramod.
one
Let me
village
take
I'm
this
talking
back
about.
to the
There
panel.
are so many villages on that area, and the people in that area are completely angry.
All right, Arun Ram joins us as well, resident editor of the Times of India. Arun Ram, my first question to you. Good evening. We had Muralidharan of the AIMDMK tell us that this is not the case across Tamil Nadu, that most villages are okay, that we might be blowing this out of proportion. But our reporter who's travelling right now is sending us a completely different picture. What are your reporters telling you, Arun Ram?
At first, we have to admit that it's a huge challenge that the government is facing. But having said that, I think that not enough is being done. Probably not enough is done smartly. In the way, we just saw a calamity of a much bigger magnitude in neighboring Kerala, and how the government had handled it relatively better. Of course, there were problems, there were lacks. So I don't think Tamil Nadu, the neighbor, has learned any lessons from Kerala. Or for that matter, there have been successive calamities which have been hitting the eastern coast of India. So I think we haven't learned many lessons. Today, we also heard about 4 women, I'm told, being run over by a speeding car on a highway. Why? Because they were moving from a camp, a refugee camp, to as the nature's call, which shows that there were no enough toilets at these special camps. So these are all commentaries on how badly, how poorly we have managed. Not taking away the challenge, the quantum of the challenge. Of course, it's a huge task, much bigger than what the media has been reporting in the initial days. We have seen that even inland as Dindigul, Kodaikanal, hilly areas, devastation has been almost universal along the track of Gaja. So the intensity and the aftermath has been bad, but at the same time, I don't think the government has done enough. It has just sent ministers, deployed people, but then I think there are the laws on what exactly to do where. For example, you can see from your own visuals that I'm told Tangerco, the electricity board, that is the electricity distribution company, needs tens of thousands of more electric poles. They don't have enough poles in stock. So which means that even when they get these poles, to take another 4 to 5 days, which means that large tracts of land, the hinterlands, are going to be powerless for at least a week, if not 2 weeks. So I think, even while the chief minister and the government, the state government, has been asking for 15,000 crore or more from the center, I don't think they have managed to figure out how big is the impact and what exactly needs to be done. There is a way of systematic mitigation, which I think the bureaucracy, yes, I can't blame the politicians, the bureaucracy has failed, despite Tamil Nadu being a target of many natural calamities in the recent past.
In fact, Manasa Rao, a reporter with News Minute, joins me out of Chennai as well. Manasa Rao, News Minute has been on the ground reporting on this calamity. Do you agree with what Muralidharan has said, that it's just 1 or 2 villages and things are not so bad?
I don't think that the government really anticipated the kind of scale of the devastation. Before the cyclone hit, there was, largely a lot of preparation that took place, and that has been well documented and well appreciated. But what came after was something that the government was absolutely unprepared for. Every time we would go to a hamlet, we would go to a village, the first thing that we would hear is that, you're the first person who's actually coming here. That's not one of us. So no VAO, of course, there's no local body election, so you don't have panchayat presidents, local leaders there. And, there was no access to basic essential items like, food and water. In fact, many of the relief camps itself were not set up in many of the remote areas. I've traveled across Tanjavur, Tiruvarur. My colleagues have traveled across Nagapattinam and Kadalur. And in many areas, the people just occupied the school that was nearby. The government was not there to open it for them. The district administration was not present. The only time they could get the attention of the district administration, in fact, was when they staged a road roko, or when, a minister was visiting and they would conduct a protest. Otherwise, there was absolutely nothing that was happening. And, people had to come to the main road all the way from their interior villages just to grab the attention of the government. So even now, as Pramod tells you, they're not, they're not getting these essential supplies. In fact, the communities are pooling in resources themselves. The local people are pooling in money. They're pooling in whatever they have left in their homes to try and, start rebuilding their lives with whatever they can.
Basanthi Stanley, MP with DMK. And I just want to point out that every political party in Tamil Nadu that has sent out anything at all has put their photographs on it. That's one thing that you all have in common. Nobody missed an opportunity to promote themselves. What is going on in Tamil Nadu?
What is this you are asking? What the government is missing to do, we are doing it. And you are finding fault with that? I would like to appreciate you all the way, and because not only your own reporter, you are asking the other reporters and you are trying to find out the reality out of there. Thereby you are giving a warning to the present government that the situations are not really good. Please pay attention to that. So I would like to appreciate that. But your question is not taken in the right spirit by me. I can tell you this, because when the government has failed, we are doing it. And when we do it, and we want the government to know that at least we are doing it. First, we have announced, first it was our leader who came genuinely to appreciate the initial measures, whatever the government had taken. He is acting as a responsible opposition leader, and he appreciated the initial steps, the warnings, whatever they have taken, and he was really happy for the measures taken by the government. But it was the CM and the other ministers were all taken by surprise when the appreciation came from Mr. Stalin. But after that, they have taken them and they have kept them in a camp-like place. But what is the camp-like place? As you are telling, they are only government schools. Already, the government schools, they are not having enough toilets for the students themselves. When such a huge mass of people are going and staying there without any proper amenities for them, what will happen for days together? They can be there for 1 day or 2 days, but more than a week's time, nothing has reached them. So, our leader, first he went. It was the CM's duty who should have done it. He went, he saw the people, he went by road, from place to place he went, and then he asked us, whatever you could do, collect it. Then in a proper way, he said, it should reach the Trichy office, our party office. Then from there, all the other measures are going, whether the tarpaulin, what you said, where it came from, we gave it. Tarpaulin, the ever-silver utensils, whether it is mattress or whatever we could do. One poor party person, when there was a command from our leader that whatever you could do, you please bring, she brought 10 packets of biscuits. Only the heart should be there. She brought it, and we are all there, and we want to do. We are hand in hands with the government. We are hand in hands with the people. We want to do. We have gone down, but the government has to cooperate. Whatever the NGOs are coming, where they will go, you're mentioning that the interior villages are not taken care of, because when we are going in the highways itself, those who can approach the NGOs or the other welfare measures, they are coming, they are starving, so they try to come out and catch it. But the others, those who are there in the interior, they are not able to come out. It is the government's duty. For first itself, they must have tried to do something. Apart from, it is already, the warning is given that it's going to be a harsh cyclone and all that. This is not the first time that such a thing is happening. Maybe the proportion is high, but what they have done, whether they have collected asked the NGOs where to go, where they will give, and how they are going to distribute it, whether it is only from the government, whether going to collect it from others also, like this, they should have done some homework before that. That is the lagging from the government. That is where we are trying to bridge. Don't try to find fault with what we are doing.
One second, let me...
We are doing it, and we want the government to know it. That's why we are doing it.
To ask questions. I will ask questions of everybody. Vidyashree, Editor-in-Chief of the Kovai Post, joins us as well. Vidyashree, thank you for joining us. I do understand that the connection is a little weak, but what can you tell us right now about what's happening around you, your reporters and the inputs that they're giving you? And do you agree that all political parties are using this as a photo op at this point?
Thank you so much for getting me in, Faye. Yes, you're absolutely right. I think this has been happening every time there's a cyclone. The parties, consider it a photo op. They ensure that their symbol or the leader symbol is very much stamped on the relief materials that are being brought, even if it is collected by NGOs. So this has been happening time and again. But what these people don't understand is that they need to see, this is a very frequent phenomenon. Just to give you a small statistic, this is the 10th cyclone, of this scale to have affected Tamil Nadu. I mean, of course, we also have had cyclones which have been much more devastating, but this is the 10th cyclone that has affected Tamil Nadu in the last 15 years. So when you know that we are having such frequent, cyclones, why aren't we looking at something which, which could be a preventive measure? For instance, let me tell you, Faye, we've been talking about these power poles, the transformers that have been uprooted, the electric poles that have been uprooted. There's something called the stay wire, okay, which keeps these poles and the transformers in place. But what has happened is, for God knows for what reason, the electricity department has chosen to dispense with it over the years. But why have they done it? That is something that we don't know. This stay wire is precisely for this purpose. I mean, when there is a gutsy wind, a cyclone or a storm, it ensures that this particular electric pole or transformer is in place. So is the case with trees also. I mean, perhaps for a country like India, it might not be very easy, but there are developed countries which have a support system to keep these trees in places. Now, like we've been talking, Faye, about food, we've been talking about water, we've been talking about other amenities that are being transported from here to the different places, delta regions which have been affected by cyclone. Let me tell you that coconut saplings are being transported from here to help the farmers there, because there's been a large scale devastation of, and this is happening from Pollachi, which is a small town in Coimbatore district. So that's because there's a large scale devastation of the coconut trees, coconut farms of the farmers in the affected areas. So why are we always looking at, the 11th hour measure? Why is it that, and also between 1891 and 2002, there have been 54 cyclones that have affected Tamil Nadu, which is definitely not a small figure, and the number of human casualties have also been very high. So what are we waiting for?
Okay.
And why can't we engage? I mean, see, I think
yes, fair enough. Let me open this up right now, Mr. Muralidharan. Do you want to respond to the points that were made by Arun Ram, Mansa Rao, and Vidyashree, all journalists from different organizations who roughly seem to be painting the same picture?
Yeah, Faye, see, it's as I said, a cyclone of this magnitude happened somewhere in the 60s. This is the second time which is happening to the Delta region. The Delta region is full of coconut trees, so the anger is very high. So we're not going to, I don't think the government is going to rebut all these and going to be angry with people, etc. See, it's the anger is natural. It's absolutely natural. This is a moment everybody has to come together and work towards rehabilitation. Now, the actors
what are you
have
saying?
got
One
it.
second,
NGOs
Mr.
have
Mulidaran,
got it.
please,
You know, people are putting their stamp on their...
It's very nice to say things about let's all come together and work together. People are hungry. They don't have food. They don't have medicine. They don't have water. They don't have milk. What do you mean? Look at the visuals that Pramod is sending us. They're cooking food under a sheet. They're starving. There's no food to eat. What are you saying to us?
Faye,
it's your responsibility as the government of the state.
Faye, do you know? Faye, do you know there is no electrical post, there's no power supply, so the cell phone towers are not working. Because of that, people could not even order their gas connection. Now, gas connections are being given without booking.
It is the government's responsibility to send food.
How big is the disaster?
Put it on a truck and send it.
Yeah, government responsibility, but we are not
Chennai.
PC Sarkar. It is not. Yeah, you need a PC Sarkar to fix everything overnight. It cannot. Because this is a huge, disaster. Please understand, if it's a flood, it will recede in 4 days. This is not a flood situation. This is devastation.
This is exactly what the government is supposed to. This is why we have governments. This is why we have governments. Because when there is a huge disaster like this, you are supposed to show up with doctors and nurses and medicine and food and water and milk. That's what the government is for.
Please understand, the fact-finding team from the centers already in Chennai now. They are going to the villages tomorrow morning. So that's the kind of expedition which has been done. CM was there.
When did the cyclone hit Chennai?
PM was with the Prime Minister very next moment.
When did the cyclone make landfall? Please tell me.
Definitely, Faye, you need central help also. Just the state can't handle this.
Obviously, because the state has done absolutely nothing.
That is the reason Chief Minister was with the PM.
You've done nothing. Why hasn't the Chief Minister visited the people on the ground? Is he afraid of the
I will also tell you what Mr. Pramod... No, Pramod made a comment, let me clarify that. Pramod made a comment saying that the coconut compensation, coconut tree, they're giving 1,000 rupees, whereas in the 8-lane highway, they're giving 27,000 rupees, which is wrong. That is for taking over the plot. This is for, planting saplings. Saplings, who will give more than 1,000 rupees? So, people should not distort facts.
People don't have
not helping
food.
The situation.
Okay, I want you to, so calm down first of all and focus only on one point for me. Let's not talk about coconut trees. That's phase 2. Focus on one point for me. Food.
Yes.
Water.
Yes.
Medicine. It has not reached your people.
Yes.
After so many days, why has it not reached the people?
Not everywhere. 90% is covered. Only 10% is not reached.
It's not true.
Only 10% is not reached.
Not true.
90% is covered. People are getting food.
They're not getting food. I'm showing you visual evidence of the fact that they're not getting food. I'm showing you evidence on the screen from today that people are not getting food.
Huge vessel, somebody is working.
Are these not your people?
How can they, lit a fire, Faye? How can they, how could they cook without, government supplies being there? This is the issue. Not at all the locations.
They are cooking. They've apparently pooled whatever is remained. This is their food. They have 10 kgs of rice to feed 200 people. Now, either you tell me that the government of Tamil Nadu thinks that's a reasonable thing, or you accept that it's actually these people who are making do with what they have because the government of Tamil Nadu has not even reached there. You're hiding in Chennai. That's what you're doing.
No, Faye. This is the problem. See, you all don't understand Tamil Nadu. Yesterday, Chief Minister received an award from India Today for the best governance state.
Wow, well, I'm sorry, I do not endorse any of those awards from any other organization. I'm not giving you any award today because my reporter is on the ground. Pramod is from Tamil Nadu. He understands Tamil Nadu better than I do. So let's take the question to him. Tamil Nadu, Pramod, answer this question that Muralidharan is asking. He says that I don't understand Tamil Nadu and this is a very good state. And these people who are cooking, the visual that you sent us that we were playing on our screen, these are actually supplies that have come from the government. Respond to that, Pramod.
Well, we spoke to those people. In fact, they have spoken to us on camera also. They have made it very clear. There are NGOs, there are things for the, it's the 9th day. And for the 5 days earlier, they did not have anything. I have to tell you again, there is no communication between the government and the officers. Maybe Muralidharan is talking about the cell phone, but what about the municipality leaders? What about the councillors? They are not there. So because of that, there is no communication. VAOs, village administration officers, to whom we spoke in certain areas, they are doing it on their own. Now they have to go to an entire area. The people right now, for the past 2 days, the people have gone to other places. Like Manasa said, they are staying in schools, and thankfully in schools in Tamil Nadu, they have midday meal scheme. So those rices were used, those rice and those supplies were used for the past 4-5 days, and that's also on camera. They have spoken to us, and after which right now they are going to certain areas. They have to go to a longer distance, find out some places, and they will be given supply for 2 days. They have to carry it back again, and from there, like that way they are surviving. Now they are also afraid. They have also raised one more question. Once the school opens, they do not have other places to go. All their places have been washed out, and that's the reason they claim that this is such a devastation. Rehabilitation is not at the mark, and that's what we found it from the group.
In fact, let me, Muralidharan, let me take this to the other reporters right now. Arun Ram, Muralidharan says that we don't understand Tamil Nadu. So I know you understand Tamil Nadu better than I do. You're in Tamil Nadu. You're the resident editor of the Times of India in Chennai. Please explain to us. Do you agree with Mr. Muralidharan?
Not at all, Faye, not at all. See, we all know, as I said, given the magnitude of the disaster, things are very difficult to handle. But again, as Vidyashri pointed out, this is not the first time that we have seen such natural calamities many times with increasing regularity. So we should, the Tamil Nadu government should have been better prepared. It has been exposed that it was ill-prepared for one. It was ill-prepared. And when after the disaster hit, it did not know what to do. Because had it been the first time, we would have agreed that, okay, they were at a loss on trying to figure out what to do. But it was not. And why I gave the Kerala floods example is that it is so recently in public memory. And Tamil Nadu had contributed so much in terms of money, in terms of manpower, and it has helped a lot. So I'm sure that our bureaucrats have also been working closely with the Kerala government and seen how things were working out. So I'll tell you one thing. Here the problem is when a disaster hits, be it a cyclone, a hurricane, a flood, earthquake, whatever it is beyond the capacity to first, kind of fathom what has happened. It's quite natural. But then the sign of a robust bureaucracy and a well-oiled government machinery is that once you are shaken, and then you stand up, you dust yourself and say that, see, this is what has happened. Now I need to stand up. I have to handhold people. So you need that workforce, and you need to know, the political leadership should know where to look for what resources and through what channels. It should be routed to the people who need them. That has not happened. That is why people without toilets are trying to cross the highway and getting run over. 4 of them died today. Coconut farmers today wanted to sell their produce, or because of how the coconut palms had fallen, and they tried to sell it for a distress sale for ₹1 or 2. Thankfully, some youth, some volunteers went there and kind of got them a good price. So, and if you look at it, there is no system in place to evaluate first the scale of the disaster and then to channelize. So, for example, I'm citing again the Kerala example because within 24 hours or at least 48 hours, the Kerala government had in place, a volunteer system, a website, a call-in system, several helplines where people could call for help and people could give help, and a coordinating system, a moderating system where the need and the demand and the supply is tried to be matched. So within 4 days, things were reaching where it was needed. Was it reaching everybody? No. Was everything being reached? No. But then fairly, given the scale of the disaster, the Kerala government did a much better job. So we have not learned these lessons. I think the Tamil Nadu government is still groping in the dark, trying to figure out how big is this problem and how difficult is this.
But you know what, Arun Ram, it's been 7 days since the cyclone made landfall. 7 days, a week has gone past. So imagine those people who are still waiting for food, who've gone the last 7 days scrounging and using whatever they had, waiting for electricity, waiting for water, waiting for milk, waiting for medicines. It's a ridiculous proposition. In fact, I want to play out some of the information that Pramod has sent us. He, in fact, had a conversation, like he was telling us, with the people who were cooking food. I want to play that conversation out for Mr. Muralidharan's benefit because he seems to think we're exaggerating the situation. After that, I will also play out a conversation he had with people last night. These are angry citizens. Can we play that out, please?
Between Tamil and Vandal, there is a location called Watakudi, and this is what we saw on the way. This is actually a kind of makeshift camp where people are trying to cook food. What they are trying to do is that since they don't even have a proper shed, they are using their hands to hold the tarpaulin, and they are creating a shed, and they are using their body as a kind of like a human shield. ஆனா எத்தனை நாள் அங்க இருக்கீங்க? இப்போ என்ன நிலைமை இங்க இருக்கு?
இப்போ ரொம்ப மோசமான நிலைமையில தான் இருக்குது. சமைக்கிறது வழி கிடையாது, வீட்ல அடுப்பு பத்திக்க முடியாது, மேல கூரை கிடையாது. இன்னைக்கு தான் ரேஷன் மட்டும் தான் தந்துக்கிட்டு இருக்காங்க. ஒரு ரேஷனுக்கு வந்து ஒரு 500 ரூபாய் பணம் தர்றாங்க சாம்பார் ரசம் வைக்கிறதுக்கு. எங்களுக்கு வந்து அரசாங்கத்துல வந்து வீடு இடிஞ்சவங்களுக்கு வீடு வேணும், நிவாரண தொகை வழங்கணும், பயிர் இழப்பீடு தொகை வழங்கணும், மற்றபடி நம்ம பாதிக்கப்பட்டவங்களுக்கு துணி ட்ரெஸ்ஸு இது மாதிரி உணவு பொருட்களை அரசாங்கத்தை கேட்டுட்டு இருக்கிறோம். மாடு மட்டும் வைக்கோல் வேணும்.
Okay, they want food, clothes and proper shelter for everyone, and they claim that even for cattle there is no food. This ward alone is like preparing food for 350 people, and that's what you could see over there. That is the food that's being prepared. It's very unfortunate that they have to hold their hands and tarpaulin to cover the food because they claim that this is the food they're going to have for today, and this is a condition from ground at Vatakudi between Thalanyari, which is a location at Nagapattinam.
In fact, I also want to play this one. This is Pramod from last night, and we'll have Pramod tell us what happened. But this was when he was traveling and he stopped when he noticed there was something wrong on the road. Can we play this out, please?
This is one of the locations that is connecting Karikal to Velangani, and this place is completely blocked right now. You could see that the vehicles have been stopped at this location. This is an area where we have a village called as Sellur Tsunami Kuppam, which is like a place where the people have to be replaced after the tsunami, and you could see that women, men and children are sitting on the ground right now. They are all sitting over here stating that the basic amenities they have not got. This is from 15th there is no power supply in this area, and that's the reason they are protesting right now. What they have done is that they have put all these broken trees and everything on the road, and they have made a blockade, and they claim that no authorities from the government has come so far, and they have spoken to them, and that's the reason they are blocking the road right now. There is no water, there is no electricity, and there are children over here who are suffering right now, and that's the reason they are protesting. No government official has come here so far, and that's the reason they claim that if they want come here for getting vote, why isn't that they have come here so far for to meet the people? ஒருத்தர் வந்து பார்க்கலையா? சாப்பாடுக்கு என்ன பண்றீங்க?
ஒரு குடும்பத்துக்கு 3 அரிசி எத்தனை நாள் சாப்பிட முடியும்? 3 கிலோ அரிசி 3 சாப்பிட முடியுமா ஒரு குடும்பம்?
ஒரு குடும்பத்துல எத்தனை பேர் இருக்காங்க இங்க?
ஒரு குடும்பத்துல 4 இருக்காங்க, 8 பேர் இருக்காங்க, 5 பேர் இருக்காங்க.
See, for now, what they have done is that after 7 days, each and every family has got 3 kilograms of rice, and they claim that there are 4 people minimum on it. How will they survive? The worst part is that there is no clean water, and that's the reason they are fighting.
எத்தனை பேருக்கு ஜோரம் சீக்கிரத்துல இருக்காங்க. இங்க இருந்து போய் நாங்க எப்படி போறது? தண்ணி இல்லாம கரண்ட் இல்லாம இந்த பக்கம் தண்ணி பாருங்க எவ்வளவு இருக்கு, சாக்கடையா இருக்கு. பூரா செப்டியா கொண்டு வந்துட்டு இருக்கு.
They say that the water has stagnated so far, and that's the reason they can't even live over there. The health condition is very bad, and that's why they're protesting on the ground. You could see that the vehicles are everything being stopped. This is one of the highways that connect Velangani to Karikal, and it's been completely stopped right now. This is one location which is completely damaged, and they claim that the government officials to come over here and to make sure that they get the basic amenities.
Vidyashree, I just want to ask you this. You heard the interaction, the reporting that Pramod has been sending us over the last 48 hours since he began traveling. Now, he's managed to meet these many people in 2 days. The government of Tamil Nadu has had 7 days, and they still haven't reached every part of the state.
Absolutely, Faye, and we all know that even the governor's convoy today was waylaid by the protesters. They did not give way for him, unless and until he kind of managed to convince them that relief measures will be in place, they will be given food, water, everything else. So when I was talking to somebody in Tanjavur district today regarding this issue, this is what, he's a fairly educated person, and this is what he told me. During 2014, when the cyclone Faye happened, Chandrababu Naidu was very much there on the spot, in person, was sitting there stationed in Vizag, which took a major beating. That was a place which was ravaged because of the cyclone then. And he kind of drew a comparison to the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, who was sitting in a conclave of a media house, participating there and not really being there for the people. So what he has to say is, now that there are no councillors, there is no civic body per se, only the bureaucrats are actually in charge. And if there is the ministers or the chief minister is present in the are stationed there in person, they feel that the bureaucrats perhaps will do a better job and they will act more swiftly. So, I mean,
yes, so
it is
in
very,
fact,
very
Vidyashree,
obvious
there's one more point I want to bring out here. Pramod has spoken with few bureaucrats. My team from Mumbai has reached out to bureaucrats on the ground, and most of them have told us that they have not heard from Chennai. They have not been given instructions from the state government. They're waiting for relief measures to reach them so they can hand it out to people, but they haven't received anything so far. Pramod, I know that bureaucrats will only speak on the condition that we don't give out their names, but what have the local bureaucrats told you, the IAS officers that you have spoken with?
Well, I would simply say that, like, I was able to meet village administrative officers because they are on the ground. Various locations, they are on the ground and they are working. They are trying to find out, like, what could be done. On the other hand, the electricity board, those staffs are also on the ground. They are trying to make sure that, like, the power supply should be could be given as quick as possible. However, you need to have a proper plan because, like, on the state highway, you need to fix the poles. From there, you have to send it inside. The debris itself has not been removed. That's the biggest issue. How are they going to remove the debris? Where are they going to place it? Because of the debris being over there, continuous rain, the people are worried about mosquitoes also. They believe that there could be a huge breakout of a dengue and malaria. They're afraid of that as well. The village administrative officers have very clearly say that there is no communication. They are trying to do whatever they can do on the ground because the people know these officers. They can't say no to them as well. So they are trying to bring the amenities right now. I would say the situation has at least improved a little bit so far because I could see the vehicles of senior officials pass through the villages that we have gone through yesterday. It is still completely dark. There is no power over there. People right now, after the debris have been removed from the state highways, they're coming to Chennai and other places to buy genset, and then from there they're trying to restore some power. Whoever has power, the people are staying in that areas as well. That way, the neighbors are helping each other now.
All right, Pramod, we're going to have to leave it there for now because we've run out of time, and I want to thank all of my colleagues from the journalistic fraternity, Vidyashree, Arun Ram, Mansa Rao and Pramod, who came in on this show to give us your inputs and what your teams have discovered so far about Cyclone Gaja. A commitment I make to our viewers in Tamil Nadu and across the country that for us, it's the stories about citizens that matter the most. And right now, the citizens in Tamil Nadu are in desperate need for help. Now, the conversations that we have had with people on the ground, with district officials, with the IAS officers, they're telling us that they have not received, in a lot of the parts of Tamil Nadu, they have not received aid from the state government. But the roads are accessible now. And if so, in the other parts of the country, you want to send out aid to Tamil Nadu, you can in fact do so. The trucks can reach them. We will put out information on the channel, and you can call my team and find out if you need more information of where you can drop things off and what parts of Tamil Nadu really need our help and what sort of help they need. What can you send at this point? But if the state government has not stepped up and has not done its job, maybe the rest of us can. Because at the end of the day, we cannot leave our fellow citizens, our brothers and sisters in Tamil Nadu without food, water, medicines or milk. Completely unfair. Not in 2018, when we should have been able to do much better. 7 days have already passed. 7 days is 7 too many. Thanks for watching.